Jiven here, welcome to another video. In this video, I'm just going to be talking about ways that I got better at W keying. I'll go over some of the steps you need to be taking to get better mechanics and fighting sense, and then I'll talk about W keying in Arena, how it helps you become a better player, and how to get better at it. Let's hop right into it. So first thing we're going to talk about is mechanics and fighting sense and how you can improve that in creative. I'm going to talk about this briefly because I have tons of tutorials on this stuff, but I'm going to give you a little stepping stone guide here. So the biggest thing that helped me understand how to fight in Fortnite was just 1v1ing a ton of players. I would go into scrim discords and go to the looking for players section, and all you have to do is type 1v1 and then your server, and people will DM you and you just get them added and 1v1 them. Doing this can give you an understanding of how players fight and how you can counter them. I recommend doing this until you can win most of your fights in creative, because at that point you know that you have the skill to win most of your fights in Arena as well. After you learn to fight in creative, it's all about applying those skills into Arena. But let's say you're struggling and can't really win many 1v1s. Here's what you gotta do. Try to study how and why you're losing the fights. If it's because you can't build fast enough or you're missing shots or choking a lot of edits and builds, that means you need to work on your mechanics. But if they're just getting cheeky angles on you, you need to watch back those clips and figure out how you can counter those moves. Figure out how you could have protected yourself differently to not let them get angles on you. And try to think of ways you could have countered their moves to get right-hand peeks on them. For those of you that are losing your fights a lot because of mechanics, listen up. Step 1 is to master your builds and your edits. You can do this in Raiders box fight practice map. I have videos made on this map in a warm-up that I do in this map, so I'll put the code and a link to the video in the description. I'm going to have all these links to videos and codes in the description for you. Step 2, after you've mastered your builds and edits, is to improve your aim. There's lots of ways you can practice your aim. You can run through the target practice courses in Raiders box fight practice map. And the best way to practice 50-50 aim, which is up close tracking when you're in a box with someone, is to go to this map called Aim Duels. The next step is to improve your piece control. To do this, you need to go to Raiders piece control map. In this map, he sets up several different scenarios where you need to piece control the opponent, which is claiming builds around the opponent, that way you have the advantage and can make edits on them. When running through this map, you need to focus on 1, grabbing all the builds around the opponent, 2, setting up smart right-hand peeks, and 3, hitting your headshots. I have a video going through every single course and how you should be doing it. This map is great because when you're in Arena and you see one of these situations pop up that you have practiced in this piece control map, you'll have the reflexes built so that you know how to handle those situations. If you're new to piece control, I recommend practicing this map every day until you feel comfortable and can start to recognize these piece control situations in-game and in fights. So the last step within creative to prepare yourself for W keying in Arena is improve your fighting sense. And this brings us back to part 1 where I was talking about 1v1ing lots of opponents. When you're 1v1ing people, you should try to realize certain patterns that players have. Once you can realize their building patterns, their edit patterns, you can start to predict them and start to cut them off and piece control them and set up cheeky angles. If you're new to Fortnite, it's going to be tough to catch up, and the way you are going to be able to catch up is by going through this video step by step, learning mechanics from square one, building those reflexes of piece control, and starting to realize these patterns in 1v1s. Once you have all of this stuff down, you're ready to go into Arena. My biggest advice when transferring creative skills to Arena is try to picture yourself in creative when you're taking the fights. For example, early game, you want to try to be setting up cheeky peek shots, playing behind builds, behind structures, and just trying to predict your opponent, cut them off and stuff like that. When you're in mid game, it's just like a build fight. Try to get in the mindset of creative fights, and then you'll feel more comfortable in those fights in mid game. But I can't stress it enough, a lot of people nowadays say just push every fight you see in Arena. But from my personal experience, doing this is not going to go well unless if you master piece control in creative first. That way you know what you're supposed to be doing once you get into these arena fights, and you'll probably be able to win more fights and at a faster rate. So anyways, now let's talk about how I got better at W keying in arena once I built all that fighting sense and piece control from the first part of the video. In this part of the video, I'm just going to give you little pointers that helped me improve my W keying. The most important part of W keying is just get comfortable fighting as many people as possible and learn to end those fights fast, with piece control and stuff like that, which I have lots of tutorials on. The first piece of advice I have: don't try getting good at W keying until you can get to champs. If you're stuck in contenders, that probably means you need to go back to square one in this video and try to improve your mechanics, improve your fighting sense and piece control and all that stuff. My biggest advice to people stuck in contenders is take it back a notch. Go back to square one of learning, which is starting in creative and practice fighting a lot of people there. That way you don't lose as many fights in arena. Another piece of advice for people stuck in contenders: try to master one drop spot at a time. Don't hop from spot to spot, because that'll often end with you dying at the start of the game almost all the time. What you need to do is pick a spot on the map and master that spot particularly until you can win there every single time and leave with good loot. If you're struggling with mastering a drop spot, check out my video called Mastering a Drop Spot. I'll link it in the description here. Once you learn one drop spot, you can move on and learn more drop spots. But take it one spot at a time at first. It's going to take time to get used to dropping at a spot, so keep dropping at the same spot over and over again until you feel confident there. And now here's step 2. Once you're in champs and you kind of have a rhythm of how to play arena, practice increasing the amount of fights you take slowly. Don't instantly try landing salty towers every game, pushing everything you see. Just play arena the way you had been playing arena and slowly increase the amount of fights you take. Start pushing more people at points in the game where you normally would have boxed up or camped for endgame. Eventually, if you keep increasing the amount of fights you'll take, you'll start getting used to fighting the entire game. And you'll start dropping high kill games more consistently, and those high kill games will just keep getting higher and higher, you know? Another thing I should note is don't be afraid to push people at the end of the game. In my arena lobbies, almost everybody's boxed up at the end of the game, and I just pick a box to push, I box up next to it, and I initiate a box fight situation. Just practice fighting more and more people. Don't get overly aggressive. A lot of people try pushing even if they're not healthy or, they just want to take every single fight they see. And I 100% agree. Arena is about fighting as many people as possible so that you can improve the fighting for tournaments. But the issue is, you don't want to fight unless if you're healthy and set up to fight. The goal of W keying is to start a fight healthy and end it healthier. So if you can get to the point where you can end fights fast, you'll probably leave that fight healthy and be ready to take another fight right away. And then eventually you'll just be able to move from person to person and just get more and more stacked throughout the game, and you'll just be able to run through lobbies. The best W keyers are the people that can end fights fast and instantly be ready to fight again, because then they can drop high kill games without ever being weak, without ever needing to pause their W key to heal or farm up. And now a lot of you are probably wondering, how do I end fights fast without taking much damage? The general answer is just to get good at piece controlling and be able to set up smart right hand peeks where you don't take damage. I have lots of tutorials across my YouTube where I break down my piece control and talk about how you can practice piece control, and I'll link some of the best ones in the description. I'm telling you, once you actually get piece control to a god level, you'll be so good at W keying, because that's really the main thing you need. Piece control, aim, and peek shots. But I'll give you one big tip here. The biggest recommendation I have for W keying in arena is what I just did here. When you push up to somebody's box, position yourself to the left of the box and make a whole entire base, and then push their wall from the left side. This gives you the right hand peek and forces your opponent to make a bad peek if they're going to edit on you. Their only choice is take a bad peek or run away. Another way to improve at W keying is just watch back your fights. Look for missed piece control moments where you could have ended the fight faster, and once you notice those mistakes, you're less likely to choke it again in the future. Doing this has helped my W keying so much and can help yours too. Hopefully this video helps you get on the right track for W keying in arena. Make sure you drop video ideas in the comments, like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.